If there is one topic out there that has a ton of conflicting advice, for sure it's relationships. And here's the secret that no one tells you. Relationships are actually pretty simple. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 secret tips that I've actually learned over years of doing therapy with hundreds of couples. These are the exact same strategies that I use with couples in my therapy rooms or on one of my immersive retreats. To help them move from feeling disconnected and unhappy in their relationships to experiencing greater intimacy and happiness. My first tip, and honestly, this is one of the most underrated strategies that you can use in your relationship, is to focus on creating pleasure with your partner. And if you're wondering if this seems a little too simple, let's be fair. I myself felt this was a little too basic to be sitting in a room with couples who were paying me a tidy sum for help with their relationship and to prescribe quality time together, because it kind of seems like common sense, right? If you want to have an enjoyable relationship, then you need to have fun together and experience pleasure. However, what I've noticed is that when couples hit a bumpy patch in their relationship, there seems to be a natural tendency to move away from spending enjoyable time together and focusing all their energy on dealing with the problems, talking about the problems, working through the problem. And don't get me wrong, as a couples therapist, I obviously think that is really important. But after working with hundreds of couples, I am acutely aware that it is really difficult to work on the issues in our relationships when we've lost the ability to find humor in the tough moments, to experience joy in the everyday. You need to create that space for pleasure. As a clinical psychologist, this is what I would call a two-pronged strategy, because it's both a preventative approach and a treatment intervention. Meaning, outside of the obvious, just wanting to spend that enjoyable time with your partner, it has 2 positive impacts on your relationship. Firstly, it's a preventative strategy, so it helps protect your relationship. And secondly, if you're finding yourself in that stuck place in your relationship, it helps to shift you back into positive sentiment, which is a really important starting point for making all the changes that you need to in your relationship. My second tip is knowing when to pause conflict when you are in fight, flight, or freeze. This is where a lot of couples do a lot of damage to their relationship. You may find yourself getting caught in this ongoing cycle where you initiate conversations to talk about issues, which is obviously very important, but your nervous system gets activated. You're in a reactive state, and instead of taking a break to regulate, you push through because you really need to talk about this. The only problem is that you're actually not talking about this anymore. You're throwing grenades at your partner and everything implodes. And now you need to have a conversation about those grenades you threw, those hurtful things you said, or those missed opportunities for connection. The only thing is, now your nervous system is activated again and you're back in fight mode. And again, you're saying hurtful things. And then you have to have another conversation about those grenades. And the cycle continues, and you spend all your time focusing on dealing with those things that were said in the reactive moments, rather than being able to get to that deeper understanding of what each other is feeling and the deeper needs that you both have in the relationship. So the first thing that you need to know here is that it is literally impossible to have effective communication when you are in fight, flight, freeze mode. If you want to understand why and the physiology behind what happens when you're in fight, flight, freeze, which I think is super important, I found with couples really helpful, not only just understanding what is happening, but also motivating them to take that break. Check the video in the link below, and it will talk you through everything that happens from a physiological perspective and what you need to do next, which is the second thing, taking a break. But the important thing here is that the way you take a break is really important in terms of protecting your relationship and not causing further damage. My third tip is one of the biggest keys in maintaining connection is good communication. I know if you're watching this video, you're probably pretty good at interacting with other humans, and you've learned some great communication skills along the way. Here's the thing that I've come to realize in working with hundreds of couples. Even if you're an amazing communicator, and I've worked with some highly successful people who even communicate for a living, the reality is that it is slightly different when it comes to your relationship. And so those skills that work in other settings may not have the same impact that you're looking for in your intimate partner relationship. And let me explain why. Your relationship with your partner is different to every other relationship in your life. It is the only setting where you are uniquely balancing both your needs and your partner's, where you can be equally triggered and comforted by the same person, where you are your most vulnerable and also your most safe. And successfully navigating a relationship requires a unique set of skills that you, like most people, may not have learned yet. If you want to learn more of these unique communication skills that you need to have greater connection and intimacy in your relationship, watch this next video now.